The most reliable car in the world. And should you take Social Security early like Sarasota Tim? Today, I read an interesting article on Yahoo Finance, put out by Smart Asset, and written by Brian J. O'Connor, titled, More Americans Opting for Early Social Security, but at What Cost? The author of this article referenced a 2022 survey by the Nationwide Retirement Institute, which revealed 42% of Americans said they plan to file for Social Security before their full retirement age, while also continuing to work. This is up from 36% in 2021. The author went on to say, people can claim Social Security benefits as early as 62, but this can result in a monthly benefit check that is as much as 30% less than the payment they'd receive at full retirement age, which is between 66 and 67, depending on when someone was born. Here are my thoughts. I have to wonder if these people who are taking Social Security early listened to Sarasota Tim. He's made videos in the past telling people to take Social Security early. I personally would never tell people to do that. Each person's situation is unique, and it could be difficult for some random person on YouTube to fully understand the complexities of someone else's financial situation. I think people need to think very carefully before making a decision like this. I also think people need to be very careful if they are taking advice from a YouTube entertainer. Understand, I'm not trying to be critical of Sarasota Tim. He's a human being, and I think people need to be treated with compassion. There are plenty of people on YouTube who bash Sarasota Tim regularly. As for me, I'm glad he is happy with his decision to take Social Security early. I just worry there are people who have no retirement savings, and they will be relying solely on Social Security during their retirement years. If I were in this type of situation, which I'm not, I would not be taking Social Security early. I'd continue working and delay taking Social Security for as long as I could. For those who are taking Social Security and continuing to work, this might be okay for now. But there may come a day in the not too distant future where they can't keep working due to mental or physical limitations or possibly ageism in the workplace. Some people could potentially regret taking Social Security early when they can't find employment in the future. It could be pretty hard to support yourself on a small amount of Social Security in our very expensive society, especially if you are a renter and have debt, which is the case for a lot of Americans. But what do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. Now, I read some of the comments beneath this article. I'll share some of them with you. The first commenter said, life expectancy is falling, and I'll probably not make it past 85. So I'm in at 62. Light part-time work is fine with me as long as I'm able. I live modestly. Living modestly is your number one most reliable investment. Well, I'm going to chime in about this comment. Living modestly is not an investment. It is a lifestyle choice. Sometimes people can take it to the extremes, though. Take me, for example. I don't need to keep driving a Toyota Camry with 419,000 miles on it, but it makes financial sense to do so. I like watching my money snowball month after month. I cringe at the thought of spending money on a depreciating liability when what I have right now works just fine. Will I eventually buy a different car? I'm sure I will, but I haven't quite made that decision yet. Getting back to the comments, the next person said, everyone's situation is different. Many of my friends took Social Security at 62, thinking they'd invest it. Almost all of them spent it. One is back at work now at 68. The next commenter said, I took Social Security at 62. How could I not? It would have meant leaving $25,000 a year on the table. When I did the math, it came out that I will be 80 years old before I would regret it. The last comment that I'll share with you came from someone who said, don't forget that the older you get, the less you are able to enjoy your money. Retire early enough to take some trips and enjoy it. Well, my friends, the commenters always have interesting things to say. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I read another interesting story today. This one was on Yahoo Finance, written by Praz Subramanian, titled, GM China to take $5 billion hit. There will be no comeback story, expert says. The author referenced a filing that reported General Motors would take a charge of $2.6 billion in its China joint venture with local automaker SAIC due to a material loss in value of that business stemming from market challenges and competitive conditions. GM will also recognize additional equity losses of approximately $2.7 billion, resulting from impairment charges recognized by the China joint ventures relating to plant closures and portfolio optimization. Here are my thoughts. What the heck is going on with General Motors? During the early 20th century, General Motors was on top. They employed Americans and paid livable wages. Now, they are tossing around billions of dollars they probably can't afford to lose. The CEO of GM thinks the company can still exist in China. Well, I think the CEO needs to do a little research about Xiaomi. Look at how quickly they have become a dominant force in the Chinese phone market. Compare their phones to the devices from other companies. She would quickly find out they are innovating at a fierce pace. They are now making electric cars. I'm sorry, but I don't think GM can compete with Xiaomi in China. It just isn't going to happen, in my opinion. With that said, I think GM could still have a bright future in America and in some parts of the world. Note I said could. If I was put in charge of that company, I would definitely get back to basics. I'd reflect on some of their great engines and transmissions of the past and see if new, smaller, and more efficient versions could be made today. For example, the Chevy 350 engine was legendary. The Turbo Hydro 400 transmission was tough as nails. The 3800 V6 was also a great engine, with the exception of the intake manifold issues that some of them had. I would source some of the best steel and plastic in the world and focus on quality and reliability. I'd make sure we had precise tolerances for every part of the vehicle. I'd also focus on making cars that are easy to service. I'd build cars that everyday Americans would like and can afford, without an 84 or 96-month vehicle loan. I'd build these vehicles to last, so people would be loyal to the brand again. I would build the most reliable car in the world. I'd also think outside the box regarding serviceable parts. For example, have you ever noticed how cars with leather seats always get worn on the side bolsters where you get in and out of the vehicle? You have to replace the entire leather seat cover, which is incredibly expensive. I would design the seats so you could replace sections as they develop cracks over the years. I'd also design the carpet so it was easy to replace in sections as it became soiled. I'd make sure things like the heater core are easy to access from a panel, as opposed to needing to tear the entire dash apart. If you think these ideas sound good to you, let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.